1, 2, 1, 2, 3, two bars before 127, can you finish that solo off and not leave those two measures empty?
Sure.
I'd rather have you do that and miss the entrance at 127 than the other way around. That was cool. That was cool. Green sleeves we don't need to practice, right? You're okay with that? Parnell's okay with that? You know where the, you guys know where the refuge is, right? Okay. We'll probably only do those two tunes, but we might do Vernal Fields if we have time. So I would like to try the DS and Dakota. It's 79, right? Okay. Guys ready? The DS 79. Okay, everybody got it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. this is our temporary home, and we're doing the best we can. This was a suite of offices at one point, so that, and this is our rehearsal room. The reason that we're set up this way is because it's a very dry room. There's no echo, there's no reverb, so it's very hard for the instrumentalists to hear the rhythm section. A traditional setup, they would be behind, and so there's no ring. So we found that this works pretty well. It's not great for a presentation, but it's kind of the best we can do, so you can just kind of sort of see how we look when we're rehearsing. So we have, I direct the jazz ensemble when I teach jazz arranging, and Daryl Grant, who is my colleague, he's on sabbatical this year, but he does the combos and teaches jazz improvisation. We have a Bachelor of Music in Jazz Studies here. It's a 4-year degree. Kids learn how they take arranging, jazz composition, 2 years of improvisation. The big bands, they play in combos and that sort of thing. Right now we have, I think in the music department, approximately 300 music majors, of which I guess probably about 35 or 40 are jazz majors. And we also have a master's of music in jazz studies that we've had for about 5 years now. So anyway, we're going to play 2 pieces for you. The first piece is a transcription that I did. A transcription is basically listening to the record and copying everything off of the record. It's from I don't know if you're familiar with a jazz giant named John Coltrane, who's one of the kings of the tenor saxophone. Anyway, he has a great album called Africa Brass, it was John Coltrane with a big band. And one of the pieces from that is this thing we're going to do. It's called Green Sleeves. Ordinarily, it's for a tenor saxophonist. Our tenor saxophonist is in the hospital this week. I just found that out on Monday, so she can't be here with us to play it. But one of my graduate assistant, Farnell Newton, who's in our master's program, very prominent local trumpet player, he's going to play it. So this is John Coltrane's, well, his version of Green Sleeves. Okay, here we go. mentioned that that piece is a really good example of what we call modal jazz, which is jazz that's played on very few harmonic changes. There's just a couple of things back and forth. So John Coltrane was a master of that, and so is Farnell. Wasn't that a great song? So before we play on other pieces, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to. Yes.
I was wondering if maybe a couple of students could tell us why they chose Portland State's program and what brought them here.
Who should we ask that? Any volunteers? Why Portland State, Farnell?
Just a reputation of the professors that are here. You have Charlie Gray, who's a wonderful arranger and composer, and you have Darryl Grant, who was you know, real big in the New York jazz scene and playing with world famous artists and musicians. So it was kind of a no-brainer.
Anybody else? No. Well, Portland, as you probably know, has a very national reputation as a city that's very friendly to jazz music, and a lot of jazz players, a lot of very world-class jazz players live in the city or around the city, and it has a really good reputation for the older jazz players who like to help the younger jazz players. So it's really it's a great place to come. You get all kinds of people that just say, man, the city draws us, and then we get to take advantage of it. So. But anyway, so any other questions or anything I can? Okay, we're going to play one more piece. This is a piece from Duke Ellington's library. And before I go too far in my shameless promotion, speaking of Duke Ellington, I'm also the director of the Portland Jazz Orchestra, which is the resident ensemble of the Portland Jazz Festival. And I'll give you a brochure on your way out. We have a concert December 5th of Duke Ellington's Nutcracker Suite, and featuring Norman Layden on clarinet, so it's going to be really cool. So I'll give you a brochure. I had to promote that. So. Anyway, this is from the Duke Ellington Library. It's a blues, really kind of an interesting blues piece called Main Stem. And we also have another kind of thing that I think is really neat is there's some very good jazz in the high schools and also even in the middle schools in Portland, and we take advantage of that too through a program called the LINK program. The LINK program is a program where high school students can study here and they get college credit and that sort of thing. So I have these two young men here are high school students, and Tree is in the 10th grade at OES, and Kurt is a senior at Cleveland High School. And so just by way of coincidence, they both take solos in this piece too, so you get to hear what's going on in the high school. It's both very excellent musicians. So anyway, this is called Main Stem. All right. One, two. like to thank these guys for coming. They had to get out of classes.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming.
If you have a question, on the link system, is that something that you do with each of the schools individually, or just any of the schools in the
I think
program?
any student, we've had students from all kinds of schools. There is a link program that you go to admissions. And I think these guys, they're playing in Span, and I know Tree is doing an improvisation class, right? So, yeah, it's really neat. It's good for us, good for them.
And that's any Portland area schools, so it could be Beaverton or?
I think so, yeah. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
How many are from out of state?
How many are you from out of state?
That's so.
I think we've had probably Idaho, Montana, we've got schools from California. For a while that was a little rough because out-of-state tuition is pretty steep. And but the last couple of years we've been able to get a pretty nice reciprocity thing going with those states. That they can come in at pretty close to in-state rates, so that helps us a lot.